Hey, so in this what is going on? Okay, so apparently we're doing an unpacking video. Well, this giant set of 320 markers from Ohuhu. Seriously, it's Ohuhu. The kind people from Ohuhu sent me this set of markers, but that's not all. They also sent this set of 24. This one is brush markers, and this is the more traditional chisel slash fine tip. These are chisel slash brush markers. As an industrial designer, I'm more used to this. Very curious to try out the brush tips as well. And most interesting of all are these wide markers for me. These bad boys. I always saw people drawing with them and I always wanted to put them to a test. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna review all these markers. So one of the cool things about this that I really like, and in the beginning was a bit weird because I didn't know what to do with it, is that there's no colors here. So I was like, how am I supposed to do what color, to know what color this is? I have to open each and every one of them. Well, we have these little things that came with it, which one is a swatch, which is fine, which is good. But we have this here, which says lipstick red and the number. I'm like, wait a minute, this is actually a sticker and I have to color it with this one, which is actually the lipstick red. So I think the expectation is that I do this. And now I can take this off and just stick it here. Let me go over it just a couple of more times. I'll wait for this to dry. And in the meantime, I'll do the rest as well. And now I'm just going to unstick it from here and to here. And now I have all the colors and they also perfectly match the color that the actual marker is going to give me. So I think this is a really smart solution. And if you want the names on it, you can just use these stickers instead of the empty ones. This is my favorite set of markers. Well, aside from the grays, you guys know I love grays. This is my favorite color from here, this hazelnut. Goes well with the leather as well. And then this green a little bit too bright for me. I don't like bright stuff so much, but this moss one, again, it has some really nice transitions and you can do some really fun stuff with it. So grays are the one that I will use the most. I use the most all the time. So I'm relatively happy with this. I would like to see a bit more differentiation between these two. It's CG2 and CG, I don't get it, but either between 0 or even if it was 1, I would like to see this a bit more brighter or maybe this a bit darker. Here the jump is already nice and the jump is nice there as well. And as you can see, building up, you can get quite nice gradation. So I am quite happy with this. I never used the blender marker in my life and clearly I don't know how to use it. So this is just not for me. Great set of blues, as you can see. Really nice transitions. These two might be a little bit close, but that also gives you nice transition possibilities. These two work well, and I think I used these two in a drawing and I really like them as well. So yeah, also a pretty nice set of colors and I like the differentiation of colors. This could be a bit stronger, but this is really nice, going from this really soft pastel-like to a little bit darker but still pastel-like blue or green. As you can see, a pretty nice build-up of colors here as well. I'm usually not into the just base colors because I don't know what to do with them. I'm not the best at just colors. I would want to pair these with maybe some sort of pastel chalk or something like that, just to blend it out a little bit. But together with, let's see what we have here, we can combine the blues here, looks pretty good. We can combine the oak with the leather and the hazelnut is pretty good. Greens, of course, we can combine them. Here we have a small booklet of how the colors are supposed to look. Grays obviously are a pretty good fit. Same thing with the sky glass colors. Maybe this is a little bit more greenish than what we have here. And then this is way more on the saturated side. So yeah, you don't have to follow this. It is better if you do your own swatches because you get a more accurate picture with those. And as you can see, these markers in action, they are really meant to be used on bigger sheets of paper, and they are meant to be used boldly. And that is what I really like about them. You cannot try and be precise and gentle with them. These markers are really meant for you to create a quick impression of color and bring a certain dynamism to any drawing. Since it is almost impossible to stick to the lines and not color outside of the lines, you don't even try to do that, and they make you embrace the swooshes and the smudges that you create around your drawing. But at the same time, you can turn the white tip in a way that you can cover also smaller areas as well, like with the inside of the fenders here and also the wheel on the other side of the car. About the brushes themselves, I really enjoy the way you can layer the colors, and they are quite a good set of colors. I also mixed some of the blues. I didn't stick just with the two blues I chose in the beginning. I went with the turquoise as well. And I did bust out that 24 color set and took some blues and grays from there as well and mixed them because they work actually quite well together. So all in all, I really enjoy these markers. To be fair, I stuck more with the shades of blue and didn't go for the basic RGB tones, but unlike with many other markers, these are really not saturated, and the gradual buildup can really give you the end result that you are looking for. And since I did the swatches for the wide markers, I thought I can do the swatches for the normal markers as well. And as you can see, I already have issues. I'm trying to compare the color of the head with the color that I have there. And it's so and so. Sometimes it fits, sometimes it doesn't. It's just these markers don't always fit the color. So just keep that in mind when it comes to these. And when it comes to coloring, yeah, it's just good, reliable. I enjoyed working with these. And the set that they give you is not, it's trying to be as full as it can with 24 colors. Of course, you will not get those super close to each other markers with which you can have these super nice and subtle transitions. But that's why the bigger or the specific sets are there for. I think if you just want to have nicely colored something, these will give you the basic colors that you need. And once again, they are not super saturated. So that's the thing with, I usually recommend people just, especially if you're a beginner or you're a hobby artist, go out to the first supermarket and just get yourself the cheapest alcohol marker because you don't need to pay Copic prices. Now, the downside is that usually those cheap markers are extremely oversaturated, and you can give them to kids to have fun with it, but you can't really do much more with them. And I don't have that problem here. They're not the most pastel one, at least in this one set. You can totally, like as you can see with this little old type robot thing that I was drawing here, you can get quite okay results with the set of colors that you have at hand. In the end, I went in a little bit with the brush markers just because I was very excited. I wanted to try them out because usually I don't work with brush markers. And it's actually quite a nice mix if you want to use both. I can recommend that as well. But in general, reliable, good markers, although you have to watch out a little bit for the actual color caps. They are not always what you think they would be. Something that I forgot to mention about this big kit is that it comes with its own set of swatches, I do not have the patience to fill all these in, but I'm gonna do a couple. And more importantly, this little plastic leaflet, which is really good because it goes into your sketchbook and the topics won't hit through. So usually I have a piece of paper that looks like this if I'm drawing to pick up all the hit through colors. And this is actually really cool. And I'm looking forward to carrying this with me in my sketchbook if I go sketching. And as I promised, here you can see me actually doing the swatches, which is actually not an easy task when you have 320 pieces of markers. And even though we tried sorting them, they're still not really sorted. We just went by random colors. As you will hear me see it in a minute, they don't necessarily line up. So yeah, it was a little bit of a task for me to do all these swatches. As you can see, the names are a little bit all over the place, so I wouldn't follow them. These three seem to go together. These two go together, but this lightens up. These go together. So just, I don't know, like don't follow the 40-50. It's not gonna be consistently growing in color. So that's what I was expecting. Just go by the color itself and more like the name, like Rouge Orange is going to be more red. Quince is going to be, well, yeah, more peachy, I guess. Lightning Yellow is quite strong. So go more by the name description and I guess a little bit by the head colors. So we have the Y6 goes there, Y2 goes there. What was this, Y8? Well, they sort of in Y7. You know what? These sort of, at least they do a relatively good job. That is 5. Well, the 5 doesn't do a good job. Y50, that was this one. So yeah, just don't follow the names. Other than that, colors are pretty nice. And jumping into the brush marker experience, I must say it is very pleasant. Sure, it might just be the novelty of using brush markers instead of chisel markers, but it really gives the whole rendering process a more traditional painting feeling. Layering the colors works really well, especially since you have such a great variety of tones to choose from. I decided to color one of my older sketchbooks, Sci-Fi Robots, but because I was coloring at night, the lower night light, it was a bit harder to pick out the right markers. And this is not a problem of the markers. I think it's just me, since I am used to mostly working digitally later at night. So I wasn't really seeing that well. So that is just a learning point for me to make sure to schedule more time for marker sketching during the day. But once again, I really liked the nuance I could achieve by altering the tone of the different colors, both in the pants, boots, or the vest of the robot. And finally, I also did a quick Jake Parker inspired sketch and colored it with very soft pastel-like warm grays and yellows. This time during the day, and I really enjoyed both the process of the layering with the brush markers, but also the final outcome. So I definitely want to do more illustrations in this style. Alright, so I decided to do one more with the brush markers. I had this sketch that I did. This is my hero ship I designed once. And I just thought, okay, this I did with watercolor. Let me try and do it with the brush markers. So let's get started. And with this sketch, I could really test that layering and building up the color more and more and more. I selected a couple of the yellows that I thought would go well together, from a very light one to darker and more, let's say, orangey ones, and building them on top of each other. Also, just to get to that watercolor drawing that I had before, it was really fun, and I was very happily, I don't want to say surprised, I was just very satisfied how well you can do this transition from the darker orange towards the lighter yellow. So all in all, yeah, once again, very, very pleasantly surprised and a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun to color with these. And if you would like to see some of these videos in real time, then make sure to check out my Patreon, where I usually upload 1 or 2 of these sped up videos. In this case, there were like 4 or 3 in this one video, but I take 1 or 2 per month and I upload them to my Patreon, full length with music or sometimes with commentary. Other than that, I also upload some Photoshop files and whatnot. So go and take a look at my Patreon if you are interested in supporting me and getting some extra content. Well, here we are, and these are, as you can see, a couple of sketches that I did with the markers, and I did have a whole bunch of fun. White marker, white marker, white marker, and white marker sketches. So this is where I'm more at home, in more industrial designery, bigger strokes. I really like it. I love these things, that it's not in the painting itself. You have a lot of play around your actual subject. So I think it brings a lot to the table. Once again, the color pairings work very nicely for me, from the warm to the cold, yellows, blues, and everything. I am really happy with these white markers, and I'm going to use them a lot. And then what's left, we have this one, which I mostly used these traditional, more industrial designery, I would call, markers. And this one was, I think these were also these, pretty sure. So these two sort of belong together. And then this one, this was supposed to be white markers, so I started out with the white markers, and this is also where I realized, okay, these need a bigger surface, right? So there's a slight difference between the sizes of paper and the stuff you can do with it. So yeah, I wanted to use the white markers a bit too much. And then these two were my brush marker tryouts. Really fun. I think the paper, it depends a little bit on the paper. I like working more on this brighter white paper than at least this sketchbook. I do have sketchbooks that are quite different. This is a mixed media, so you have to watch out, but I could use this one. I just slammed it underneath there and I drew away, and yes, it hit through here, but nothing hit through to the other side. So this is awesome, and I am looking forward to, actually, I am going to do more with these brush markers. So prepare that there are going to be 1 or 2 more videos where I will use the brush markers quite a bit. And with that, we have come to the end of this video, this test, and I must say, this is crazy value. Already this is crazy value. I think this is like 20 euros for 24 pieces. That is one marker under €1. And this is also 240-ish euros for 300 pieces. That's crazy how cheap a marker is. And for what they deliver, so thank you very much for Ohuhu sending these to me. I had a great time testing them, and I'm going to do a lot more illustrations with these. But if you guys are interested in buying these, or this, or my beloved white markers, then check out the description down below, because there's links to the website of Ohuhu where you can buy these, and also Amazon links if you live in different countries. So once again, thank you for Ohuhu for sending me these and letting me try them out. But what about you guys? Would you be interested in switching to these? What is most important for you in markers? What are you looking for? Let me know in the comment section. I always try to reply as soon as I can. But as always, the most important thing is that you folks have a great time, and see you in the next video. Bye bye!